when you do ketamine or really any psychedelics, it helps you come home to yourself and not who the world programmed you to be. Like, here, wear these clothes, dress this way, act this way, follow along. You start to become the person that you were born to be instead of who the world told you to be. This is kind of this old school ranch house. Well, I mean, here within, our take is more of a natural place for people to come and heal, right? It's connecting with your spirit, and so we want to foster that with the surroundings. You can look around, and what we wanted to do here within is like create a place for people to heal, right, and to connect with themselves. And so what you'll notice the decor we have. We do have crystals. Lots of different symbols, right? And really it's to foster peace. It's all about connecting with your own self, spirituality, right? It's a more spiritual approach to healing than, say, a modern medicinal approach. Even though, yes, we use ketamine, but that's just one aspect. Western medicine, right? Whereas we're a retreat, we want to heal the patient, right? We want to heal them, allow them to do their own healing, actually, is what it is. And so that, we just want to create a tranquil and peaceful environment. People that stay here, they're dealing with different types of things, different issues are going on in their life. And, some could be PTSD, CPTSD, depression, anxiety, burnout, or all of the above. Lots of trauma. And so you can do inpatient or outpatient. So meaning we have people come from all over the United States that'll come and stay with us. You could stay a week, you can stay 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And during that time, you'll get, ketamine sessions with a guide, somebody that sits with you and holds space for you while you go within and do your work. And then you can come and be supported in an environment where we have integration coaches and therapists. Of course, we cook all the meals and provide all that. We have plenty of things to do here. We've got a pool and a hot tub, a cold plunge, a temple space, a hammock garden. It's just a great place to just get in touch with yourself again.
So I'm someone that has had a lot of trauma in my past. I very much had both somatic experience, sexual trauma, addiction, a lot of issues and things like that. And as I was healing over the years, I found that there's many ways that you can heal in that. And so once I healed, I started working with trauma and trauma-informed yoga in different ways to help my clients and students to feel better because of their own trauma. And one of the things that I found was there was a certain amount of students or clients that, like 5%, that could not go through the processes of really healing on a deep level because their things that were stuck in their body were just so deep and profound that they needed something extra. And that's psychedelic therapy. I found that it allows for an opening and a way for the experience to be understood in the body and in the brain. It creates a doorway and a path of opening that sometimes when we are so anxious or stressed or have so much chronic PTSD or things like that, that this gives you like the doorway into it. So I found that to be a really powerful way to really help people that were like in this space where like they've tried everything, they've tried all of the things and nothing was working for them, and that was the doorway into a new way to heal.
We numb to forget. We go within to remember, not just the pain, not just the trauma, but the parts of us that we buried, the parts longing to be seen, to be loved again, to remember the love within that we forgot.
The work you need to do is all going within yourself going within to find the answers, not on the outside, not in this pill, not in this person, not in this drug or alcohol or food or success, things, but no, going within and finding your own answers, and healing your own self. I mean, and ketamine is, you know, when you do ketamine like we do it here, you do go deeply within. I mean, you go within yourself and you explore. It's like a cosmos within yourself. Oftentimes, it's out of desperation. Nothing else is working, you know? You reach a point where you just can't go on living the way you were once living. And so after you do the ketamine, then there's work that follows, and that's called integration. And it was through the integration that I was able to find myself coming back to myself, finding that self-love, settling and dealing with some of the traumas, learning that, you know, say for instance, you know, somebody that hurt me in my life, right? Before I had done ketamine, it was like blaming them. After doing ketamine, I was able to see it from their point of view. They were wounded too. Hurt people, right?
Dallas Michael Sear, Master Life Coach and Spiritual Teacher and Integration Coach here at Within. I mean, anytime you're doing any healing, to be honest with you, integration is probably the most important part, because it's actually when you bring the work to life. It's really when you get to put all that you've been unraveling and discovering to actual benefit. It's when you bring it home to your family and see if the work is really working. Places like Within here, we have so much more integration work happening and support around the medicine, rather than giving something that is just managing a symptom and then being left on your own to deal with it.
When I was 17, I went to rehab, and I was kind of the black sheep of my family. So when I got out of rehab, my best friend committed suicide that same week that I got out. Really signified how I didn't want to go back to that. I didn't want to go back to that state of mind ever again.
I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding right now because everybody thinks it's just another party drug, or that it's something bad, or that you're going to fry your brain. Remember, we had like the war on drugs in the 80s, and everything was so bad, right? I mean, marijuana was considered bad, and now look, it's legal. And now we're moving on to psychedelic therapy and ketamine, psilocybin. These are MDMA are so powerful for allowing your body to heal, but it's looked at as like, oh, is that just another party drug? Or is this really going to hurt me? Or is my brain going to get fried? And so there's a lot of misunderstanding around what therapy is. And then I think there's also an issue with like the religious persuasion, like, oh, that's bad, right? That's something that's bad, that's a sin to do these things. But if you think about it, psychedelic therapy, most of it's whether it's coming from somewhere natural, there's a piece of where it's really something that you can work with. And so I think that we've got to open our viewpoints and look at, I mean, a pharmaceutical is something that's made, and just because everybody says that, you know, who's the one saying that that's better for you than the other? I think we got to look at like the governing societies that say what is right and wrong for us, and really understand that there's a reason these things have been put under the rug for so long, and it's maybe because it's going to cause, they're so powerful that they actually cause people to heal. And honestly, there's a lot of factions out there that don't want us to heal, because then we start to think for ourselves.
I ended up starting rehab centers, and through about a decade of operating rehab centers, I started to see a pattern of revolving. It was like a revolving door, and it wasn't working. The same people would relapse and go through different treatment centers. People were dying every month. We were getting a notification that somebody died, and doctors were putting people on Suboxone and big pharma medicine, and there really wasn't any real healing of the nervous system happening. It was just addiction. And you hear about that all over the news, and these rehab centers were, charging insurance thousands of dollars for urine test samples. It just became a racket, and I became a part of that. So I had a Jerry Maguire moment, and woke up in the middle of the night, and I went to Peru. I sat with a medicine in Peru with the Shipibo tribe, and it changed my life completely. I was there for 2 weeks. I came back and I sold my rehab centers for 50 cents on the dollar. I just wanted to get out of that industry because I no longer believed in it anymore. And I took some time for myself, and my wife and I began to sit with different medicines, different shamans, different modalities, and I had the vision of creating a new treatment center for a new paradigm of mental health that used plant medicine, that used psychedelic therapy as a way to really heal ourselves and even awaken our consciousness. And that's when Within was really born. Inside was conceptualized through a ceremony, and we started that about 4 years ago, and it's now evolved to where we've now served over 1,000 psychedelic therapy sessions here. We have an all 5-star review rating, and we now just moved on to our 12-acre ranch in Austin, Texas, and we get to do about 20 to 25 therapy sessions every week, and serve in this way, and it really makes a difference.